Hello, my name's Tony Franklin. I campaign for reform of the gambling industry and to prevent gambling harm. My personal mantra is to put pressure on the gambling industry to operate within the norms of society and within the context of their business. That is to have limits and boundaries to what people can spend, the amount of time they can spend gambling, and of course that they only spend money that they can afford to lose. So I like to talk about that in terms of spend limits, stake limits, time limits, and affordability measures. Now, of course, I share these concerns with my many fellow campaigners, and of course the go-to forum for ideas and change needed to reform the gambling industry is the all-party parliamentary group into gambling harm, chaired by the Right Honourable Carolyn Harris, MP Swansea East. We already have had under the stake pillar the successful measure to reduce stakes from £100 to £2 on the fixed odds betting terminals, which are found in the betting shops up and down this country. So that has already been implemented, and I'm really delighted that from Tuesday, so that's the 14th of April 2020, the UK government has taken the decision to ban credit cards for gambling transactions. And I think this is a really important milestone within the affordability pillar, because there is a basic premise to gambling, in my opinion, and that is you should only spend money that you can afford to lose, and therefore gambling on credit just doesn't sit right within that thought process. Now, for me personally, I've lost many thousands, tens of thousands of pounds gambling on credit cards over the years. So for me personally, to see credit cards now banned, is just a fantastic, acknowledgement of the harm, and I feel of my own personal experience of harm. But I know many people who've lost tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds gambling on credit cards. And I also know people that, have lost smaller amounts of money because, for some people, gambling just £5 or £10 means that they won't be able to put the basic requirements such as bread, milk, butter on the table to feed their families. So I think this is a hugely important milestone, and I think it will significantly reduce gambling harm. And of course, we will get, I hope, data in due course. But the research that was commissioned by the Gambling Commission showed that 22% of people who were gambling on credit cards, already had a gambling addiction, and actually there's probably likely many more, because we know that there are 2 million people plus who are at some degree and some scale of gambling harms. And we know that this is a very difficult illness to talk about. There's an enormous amount of stigma. People find it very hard to open up about their gambling addiction. And this is why we need to go really so much further still. So I'll talk briefly again on the spend limits, and work is ongoing with many of the within the third-party sector, within the banking industry, and already we're hearing stories about when the bank have intervened with their clients and their customers, that people have been able to acknowledge that they've got a gambling problem when they've been challenged about it, and actually they have specifically said that they weren't able to talk about it with their family members or their loved ones, but they were able to then talk about it when challenged by the bank ringing them up to question them about a transaction on their account. And this shows the real importance of all of these initiatives that are ongoing today, and how valuable they are. We need to find ways to intervene in the journey of destruction of gambling, from being something that started out for whatever reason to becoming a real problem, to becoming an illness, to becoming something that is consuming, someone's time, all of their resources. And so I call on all the banks to seriously consider implementing a maximum daily spend limit for gambling on all debit cards, all payment mechanisms, that's the payment wallets as well, so that nobody can spend more than a default spending limit, much in the same way as we have for ATMs and cash points. And I would propose, a similar sort of limit, a lower limit on basic accounts and possibly a slightly higher limit on premier accounts. But we need to have a daily spend limit in order to act as a brake, a friction to gambling spend spiralling out of control. Now, for the very vast majority of people who gamble for whatever reason they gamble, it's not going to impact them because they will not be spending more than these limits. But for those people who start to get into trouble, whose spend starts to escalate, this becomes an opportunity to intervene early on and get them into treatment. So I really, really implore on the banks, UK Finance, the regulator, to look into what they can do to prevent gambling harm, because they can take measures. But I want to just finish off by saying that this is a real success, this gambling credit card ban coming in on Tuesday. This is a real success on the journey to reduce and to prevent gambling harm, and it's a success that we all share as campaigners. We've all contributed, we've all shared our stories, we've all put this out there in the newspapers, we've all put this into the political front line, and what an achievement. So yeah, this is a fantastic moment for me. But anyway, thank you very much to everybody who's contributed and is contributing on this campaign. Stay home, stay safe. These are interesting times, but these measures that are coming in will help people already, struggling at home, bored. Not being able to ban on credit cards is going to prevent gambling harm. It's not enough. There's more to be done, but it's a great job.